Yeah, today we will not work on a bigger project. It's just like a print and chill. I want to work on my V0 a bit. Generally it works great still. I use it a lot. But 2 weeks ago or something, like I started seeing a bit of issues with the extruder, and I had like random like extrusion issues. If it would have been smart, I would have prepared like some sample print. But basically what happens is that for like a little bit, it just like stops extruding or like extrudes very little. And it's not really linked to any specific position or Z height or something. It seems a bit random. And what I noticed, by the way, I completely like changed all my streaming settings. So I hope this is not going horribly wrong. But so far YouTube seems to be happy. But yeah, this door. So basically what happens is that when I feed filament, and I pull on the filament, you most likely can't hear it, but like it slips through the gear. Like yes, the motor spins because like it's grabbing it, but it's also like sliding through the extruder basically. And I think what's happening is while it's printing, it sometimes slips a bit. Like also when I push it in now, while it's like engaged, I can push it through the extruder basically and slipping. The moment I'm kind of putting force on the tool head in any way, shape or form, if I, for example, press like this, I can no longer like pull it through, so it's no longer slipping. Same goes actually if I like push this latch down, it no longer slips. But as soon as like I let go, like I still have this like slipping issue. So that's kind of like what I think caused the issues. So the plan for today basically is to take this apart, try to see if something is adjusted properly. See, now I have a warning from YouTube. Let's see what YouTube is complaining. It's saying the bitrate is too low. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I was changing the setting. Hi there, NP. Oh, and I see the chat isn't aligned again. Hey, this is like a constant issue. I have to fix that. Yeah, the bottommost message is cut off. Like, see it on the on-screen chat, like not the YouTube chat, but the on-screen chat. Like right now, your wavy hand basically just appeared when you sent the second message. This is really annoying. Like it's constantly like doing that, and I don't know how to fix that. It's really difficult to adjust it. See, no, this is also not the right one. No. Okay, I think we might need to live with that. Okay, let's accept it for today. Okay, cool. But yeah, so basically, let's take it apart. Let's make sure everything is well adjusted. Maybe some parts have some wear and need to be replaced. I don't know yet. So that's kind of like task 1 for today, just to completely replace that. And then the second thing we can do if we have time is I have this lightweight extrusion basically to replace the solid aluminum extrusion here. I'm not quite sure if this is like really like a big benefit. I don't think so. Most likely it's just looking cool. But yeah, basically if you have time and we can put this in. But before I want to put this in, I want to make like some measurements with the resonance, just to see like what's the difference between the lightweight one and the standard one. Cool. Enough talk. Let's actually grab some tools. And let's take it apart. Yeah, let's actually first pull off the tool head. Step one. Luckily, this is really easy. 3 screws. Oh wait, the one on the back is a smaller one. Oh yeah, that happened last time too. You mean the last message being cut off? I remember something was wrong, but I thought I fixed it last time. Hi there, Bunny. So, I think this one is still fit in. Here we go. Maybe let's also unplug it. Oh, it was like 2 minutes back. Yeah, there was like something with my streaming settings. It's a bit wonky today. Like I changed the bitrate and the resolution, so it should be like better picture quality, I guess. This is always such a fun to remove. Here you go. So I hope that the streaming quality is fine and it's like reliable and doesn't crap out midway. But it's experiment time, so let's see how it goes. Chris is totally fine. Like the weird Chris with Y is, I don't know why. Like at some point in my life I started using that as a nickname. But Chris is totally fine. So, I must admit, like I didn't work on that for a bit, and I kind of forgot a lot how this goes together. Yeah, 1044p. Let's see. So technically, like it's also 60 frames per second now, which YouTube has some really weird rules regarding the frame rate, influencing like the bitrate you can use. Let's see, do I have to take this apart? No, I think this one, oh yeah, this one we have to take it off. So basically like when you go up with the frame rate, you can go up with the bitrate by a lot. So should also like look nicer. I don't know. Like I was like checking the streams last week on YouTube, and I found that they didn't look very nice. So hopefully this will fix it. So, my goal is to leave all the cables kind of attached. So, not sure if we will achieve that. Let's see. I think it's best to remove them. Let's see. Yeah, let's actually like snip off at least the 2 on the sides, and we can get a little bit more space. But yeah, so basically what we're trying to fix is that the extruder isn't gripping on the filament properly. So basically if I put it in, and now it works. Interesting. Before it was slipping basically through the gears, and I'm not quite sure why. And it's called extrusion issues basically. Like I always had like random under extrusion, or like really severe under extrusion where basically like parts of the print were missing for like not a lot, like maybe like for like 5 seconds, and it just went back to normal. And I noticed that when I pull on the filament, see here now, like now it's really easy to just, without the gear moving, like pushing it in and out. And as soon as I put a little bit of pressure on the latch, now it's basically impossible to feed it in. Like now I'm really pressing it, and like the filament is a bit like used up now, but without the pressure it's really easy to move in and out. And with the pressure, like it's really hard. So that's kind of like what we need to fix. But I'm not quite sure what the problem is actually. Let's actually maybe use those screws here to like kind of hold this together. Hi there, Neo. Found the videos building a Voron and got myself one as well. Oh, congrats! What did you get? Or like which Voron model did you get? Wanted to try building one for a month. Now I can check if I can make an arrow. I got a little bit of warp parts. Oh, so you, what printer are you using to print the parts? And what ABS are you using? I actually was really lucky with my first, like this was the first Voron I printed. And all the parts for that were printed on the Ender 3. And it actually worked quite well. I had that extruder for a bit, but gave it up and replaced it for an Orbiter 2. Yeah, I don't know. Like, technically I'm happy. Like, it prints well. I've had no problems until now. But now I'm like, because like I already have the tension basically on max. Like, there's not much more. It's not like that there's like pressure missing here. I'm looking kind of into there. Like, it also looks fine, I guess. I think it's also aligned. Maybe let me use, I have white filament as well. Like if I put filament in, like it's properly aligned. Let's see. In fact, I put a bit of pressure on the big gear here. And now this one is also fine. Really weird. Huh. I thought the problem would be very easy to spot, but seemingly not. I think like let's just take off the back plate and just maybe if we like disassemble and reassemble a bit, the problem might solve itself. Let's hope for the best. Then maybe we can just do a quick test print or something, see if the problem still persists. So I've really done like a test print just before stream. I got the LDO kit from 3Jake in Germany. This one is exactly also from 3Jake. That's exactly where I got mine. They delivered to all of Europe, luckily. We built a case for the rest, but I had a problem with the past skirt, but not this time. Nice. What do you mean by build a case for the rest? Oh, you sent a second message, like the parts printed on the MK3S Bear mod with 3D Jake ASA. I actually never ordered filament from 3D Jake. Like, do you have experience with that? Like, besides the ASA? Maybe the filament is just not good, I have no clue. Bigger parts are warping, the smaller parts are fine. Yeah, that's... I mean, the thing is, like, the smaller part, right, the less risk you have of warping, because the forces are just not as big. And the time to warp is less, in a certain sense. Will be the case for the rest. Yeah, so basically what I did for mine, I had basically, at some point in my life, I built this, like, Ender 3 lock enclosure that everyone has. I know, like, people also use it for the Pusher Mark 3. And that works fine. Like, it's quite a shitty enclosure in the end, but it works fine to just like prevent like any draft or like keep the heat in a bit. For the MK3S, so the heat will hopefully help for less warping. Yeah, definitely. Like, enclosure help a lot. But technically you can just use like a cardboard box and put the cardboard box over the printer. That's already enough. Like it doesn't really need to be fancy. I also printed a couple of ABS parts. You know, like those blue IKEA shopping bags? I just put one of those shopping bags over the printer, like they fit quite well, just to cover it, and it also works perfectly well. Like in the end, all you need is like a little bit of like heat being trapped, and then no air like going over the print. And as soon as you have that, basically it's really easy. I was printing now like a lot of patchy for the computer parts. I was building this 3D printed computer case, and this was like really horrible. Like printing the patchy was worse than printing the ABS part. There's a bit of like black filament flying around in here, but besides this, it looks kind of okay. There's also some random strain of filament in here. Let's see, so let's... maybe try to run some filament like this. Maybe we spot something. Then the 3 fabric enclosures can be found for $20. That's what it is. Yeah, that's even like... if you want to buy something, I think that's the cheapest option, but like seriously, like yeah, like any cardboard box in the end will do, right? Because like you're not planning on printing like a lot of parts. If you really only want to print like the ABS parts for Voron, and that's the last time you will print ABS parts on your Ender printer, put a cardboard box over it, and within like a couple days all the parts are printed anyways. And then, I mean, if you build a V0, it's a bit difficult. Technically, you can use it to print all the parts for other Vorons. Just like a bit more time intensive because you have to like do a lot of prints. But technically, once you have a Voron, the Voron will be better at printing the ABS parts than the Ender with the fabric enclosure. PLA and Patchy from 3Jake works best for me. Yeah, like for Patchy, I used Form Futura. And that was like, yeah, I don't know, like I also had a spool of Prushament and I feel like it was a bit better. Yeah, like, I mean, now it's really loose. Now I can, yeah, see here? I can just like really pull it. But I'm not sure, let's put the back plate on. Yeah, put a box over it, but only goes 35 degrees temperature. To be honest, I think that's fine. Like, I don't think you need much more. It's really about like just not having cold air going over the print, at least from my experience, which is quite limited with ABS. But as soon as you're not having it like open, it's fine. Like, I think in the V0 I get maybe 50-ish degrees when printing ABS. But yeah, I don't think it makes a huge difference. Okay, let's try to block that again. Yeah, now it's better. I wonder whether the problem is the lever. Because like, that's something I have since the beginning, but if it's like engaged, you see like it doesn't really go 100% in. And I wonder whether that's the problem. Maybe that's really some of the lever. It's really just guesswork. I have no clue what I'm doing here. The best part is that my sheet bends with the parts. Oh, that's really bad. You can use clamps on the side to hold down the sheet. But you can also, I mean, I'm not quite sure how many parts you print in one batch, right? So the less parts you print in one go, the easier it gets. I also, like when I printed the V0 parts, I didn't print like big batches. I printed like 1-2 parts max. It takes a bit longer to print, of course, because like there's more manual labor involved. But the part quality, I think, goes up, and it's also just easier because like you can just print in the center of the print bed and you don't have to worry about the edges lifting up that much and stuff like that. Yeah, that happened before enclosing my Ender 3 when I had to print some 225 by 200 millimeter parts. Yeah, exactly. Like the larger the part and like the more you go to the edges, the higher the risk of that happening. But yeah, like if you have a choice, oh, this was like really loose, the screw here. But I think that's fine because it's just for the lever, but maybe that's the cause. Let's quickly take out the lever and see if it like looks weird or something. Actually just take this apart. We'll try it then. Print it like 5 at the same time. Yeah, like the less you print at the same time, the easier it gets. It's also like this, the side effect of that is if you print like one part, let's say like you print one part at a time, right? Let's say it warps, then you only lose filament for that one part and you don't have to like throw away the entire plate. And yeah, I know, like in a certain sense, it's not a race, right? Like if it takes like a week longer to print, kind of sucks, but worse things in life can happen. And for me, like I'm just really frugal with filament sometimes. Like if I print something and like I have a lot of failed prints, I'm really annoyed. So just having like less stuff on the print bed reduces the cost of failure in a certain sense. I think there's only those two screws here that hold it in. Oh, but now we have to snip the cable tie. Let me see where I have mine. Yep. And I'm still like really scared with my camera. Like I'm not sure if anyone saw last week's stream, but my camera arm failed. Like the entire camera fell down and the lens broke. Like I had to buy a new lens. Still like a bit in shock. I really checked like this for the stream that like this is like super solid and I can't accidentally tip the camera over. I mean, I was quite lucky. This is like the cheapest lens you can get. So it was like the replacement was like 50 euros. So it was okay, but still like I'm not keen on repeating that. There were more screws holding that in, I think. Oh, but now we can at least take out. And it's a bit annoying. Like we have this entire like thing like dangling here. It's true. I never had the problem with patchy or PLA, but they are way easier to print. I don't like for patchy. I had so many trouble, or so much trouble with stringing in the beginning. Like I couldn't control stringing. It was just like completely insane how much stringing was going on there. I'm taking out all the fans, but then I noticed like I also have the LEDs glued in, so even with the fans out, we still have this like mess hanging here. I'm trying to remember, there were like more. Oh yeah, yeah. I see the screw. Well now I took the fans out. Okay, let's reassemble the cables a bit. Oh god. Let's see. So this kind of goes here. Let's twist it now around itself. The fan thingy goes to the bottom. Let's see. Carefully get them back in. Okay, this one is back. And this one goes down. I don't remember. Maybe I can also zoom out a bit. The camera management there really scares me. Yeah, this is a mess. Like it's way easier when you initially build it. And the other thing is, Let's put this in. Oh yeah, this just goes, yeah. It's way easier when you initially build it. Because not everything is attached in one go. I mean, like we could have like unplugged everything. It also makes it easier, right? If you fully unbuild it. It's most likely making life much easier. Okay, here we go. So that's in. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's do it what I say. Let's remove this completely here. Then at least we don't have the heavy motor flying around. Oh, I need a smaller. Maybe it's really just easier to completely undo that. Okay. Yes. Not having the motor flying around there makes life much easier. Okay, so I think now the problem is the screw that we're looking for is really under the fan. Yes, see, there's the screw. So I also have this extra LEDs here, so that's not part of the stock extruder or stock tool heads. I want to change the direct drive of the kit with the Orbiter V2, but I think I should build it first the way it's planned. Yeah, that's actually like what I usually do. I just build it like as intended, because you also get like a feeling like of what you need and what makes sense to change. Because like not every mod really is needed, right? So if you first build it and use it, then you get like an idea of what is really like beneficial to have. I'm missing something. It's like those two screws here. Is there like more under here? No, only those two. Okay, maybe we should also check the manual. What screw am I missing? Like this. This one is completely out. This one is completely out. Let's start to collect the screws in some sensible place. Ah, just friction. Okay, here we are. But I think this looks fine. Like I don't see anything that's wrong with it. Like the lip here is still looking good, I guess. Like there's a lot of dirt here in that bearing. But that shouldn't be the issue. So I don't think I see anything here that looks out of the ordinary. Like everything looks fine. Like again, like here's a bit of dirt. Kind of to be expected. I think I printed now. Like we need to check mainsail, but I'm pretty sure like over 300 hours on that would be my guess. But overall, it looks okay. So I don't see why I would have issues. Yeah, just kind of simulate the action here. I'm curious to see if we can spot why this doesn't fully like interlock. Because now it's again have to zoom out a bit. Hi Maria. Yeah, it looks like a dolphin, I think. That's actually true. The lever looks like a little dolphin. I guess I can never unsee that now. Okay, let's see. So, I mean, now it completely goes down. Like it's completely flat. So it's not something wrong with the part so far. So I think what we should do is like put it back together step by step and then just see at which point this doesn't quite go down anymore. And then see if we can fix that, whatever causes that. Okay. Then let's put it back together. If nothing else, we had a lot of fun like taking it apart and putting it back together. Okay. Let's secure it first. And we have the 2 screws from the bottom. One is still in place. The part that's clamping in tight. This autocorrecting with the German keyword with English on. Yeah, I know the pain. That is not easy. But yeah, like the lever, I think looks like a dolphin. That's absolutely true. Here we go. So, okay. Then that's back in. And it's still like completely flush here. So far we are good. This screw we shouldn't tighten too much because basically it's the lever point of this like lever here. So if we tighten it too much, it's very hard to move. Same with the front one actually. No. Like now it's also like snapping really in place. So maybe we accidentally fixed the problem by just taking it apart and building it back together. Okay. Put this here. It's still flush. So Okay, then maybe that's really just was the fix. But I don't know what we now did to really make this better. Maybe there was just a screw loose. I don't know, like screws were all fine. Like these two are supposed to be a little bit like they're not like this one needs to be kind of loose. If you tighten this too much, then basically you can't open the lever anymore. Same goes for the front one. If you tighten this too much, the lever on the front will be quite difficult to open. I'm also not aware that you're supposed to use thread locker on those two. Okay, let's just put it back together and see if we achieved anything. Okay. I know E3D sells replacement socks. Like mine is quite quite dirty. Maybe it's like time for replacing that at some point. Oh, actually, I mean, it also doesn't matter, right? It's just a sock. Okay. Let's actually also remove those zip ties. And then let's just sort the cable mess. The only cables we can't remove are the two LEDs, because these are glued in. Okay, and here's still one cable tie, but let's accept this one. So the first fan goes here. And the second fan, well, actually we first have to put in the bottom one. And for the bottom one, we have this very crucial piece of cable tie. Because the bottom fan was rattling a little bit. And I added this cable tie here just to have a little bit more pressure, basically on the fan. And that fixed the rattling. Be a bit careful with maneuvering that into place. It basically just like brings a bit of tension on the fan. And then, yeah. Because the front fan has no screws whatsoever. It's literally just like sitting in there. So might just be like tolerance on my part with the printing, but that was a neat little trick that helped me fix that. Okay. So then all the cables here. Let me actually already get some cable ties. Then we can like start. Attaching that here. The other gear with the big white gear is not loose, is it? Well, it's not loose technically, like it's in the bearing on top here. So like right now it's fixed in place, like because it has the bearing here on top and on the bottom it has the same bearing basically. So it sits in between the two bearings. You can still up and down is a little bit of like play, but I think that's good. And then what we need to do in a second is we need to adjust the gear, like we need to adjust the motor position because we have the gear here that interlocks with the white gear. and that needs to be meshed properly. So it must not be like too tight, because then you get like wear on this plastic here. They will just wear out basically. And if it's too loose, you will have backlash in the extruder. So basically, like when you are retracting, there is like a little bit of like play basically. So it's like you move in one direction and it's like pressing down, but then like when you start moving the other direction, like there's like it first has to like fill the gap basically, and then it starts pushing in the other direction. So it's like the backlash basically. That's what we need to adjust in a second. But we do that. You see here, like there's on one side there's just a hole. So the motor just hinges around that hole, and we can adjust a little bit in the slot here. And basically, like the further down we push the motor, the tighter is the meshing. And the further up we push the motor, the looser it is. And we need to find a point where there's like not a lot of backlash, but there's still a little bit of play. Because without the play, you get the wear on the gear. So it's a bit of like, yeah, adjusting, but it's not too difficult. Okay. Actually, before I now start cable managing here, I mean, it's still flush on top. Yeah, now there's a bit of tension. Yeah. Okay, what did I do now? Ah, now it's fine again. Okay. Okay, I feel like I have to push on the screw while closing the lever, so it's engaging properly. Like now it's really locked. But if I only push this down, like there's like a bit of resistance here in this area. And now it's like locked. It's locked, but you see it's not flush. Like there's like a little thing. Yeah, but now there's not. So if I close it, I think it's just I have to push from the side as well. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, but that's exactly now like where we started. I have to keep that in mind. Basically, if you watch any, like, it's also in the manual. The manual is very explicit about that, like with the gear meshing. Exactly for that reason, because like if you don't mesh it, if you mesh it too tight, you get like wear on the gear, and then you have to replace the gear at some point. Yeah, worse things can happen. It's a bit of work, but like those gears are not expensive or anything. So worst case, if you get it wrong, you get some extra hobby building time. Now it's like okay, something. I think it really depends on how you close the lever, because like now it's like really engaged, but then sometimes when I close it, it's like this. Like now there's this gap again, and then I think it doesn't push enough on the filament. Yeah, I think it has to do with the shuttle. Like, I'm not quite sure if you can hear it like on the microphone, but there's like a significant difference in the click. Like if I just push it down, I mean, now it's also in. It's a very soft click. Whereas if I push it like this, it's a very, very like oomphy click. That's how I describe that. But I think it's just like how I close it. Yeah, now it's like also like really like locked in place. Whereas if I do it in the other way, like now it doesn't happen anymore. It's also very easy to pop open, basically. Yeah, but now it like okay. Ha. Weird. You know, every time I close it, it's completely flush. Okay, let's accept that. I got so much building time with my MK3S. The quality I got was good, bad. what was so bad with the non-extruder problem 602, I think. What is extruder problem 602? I'm not a Prusa user, so I'm not familiar with the typical Prusa paints. The only original parts are the electronics. Well, that's actually like the first thing more or less I've replaced with my Ender was the mainboard. Because that made such a huge difference. Like, because the Ender comes, or like came back then with the 8-bit mainboard still. I think the MK3S also has an 8-bit mainboard. And replacing it with like a nice 32-bit mainboard and like silent drivers and everything like made such a difference. I just noticed like the fan cables are out of their little thing there. Okay. Oh no. There's a loose cable. All our cable wrangling. Okay, we have to recrimp that. Okay, that's not too bad. That's what we get from wrangling with the cables in this very rude manner. It's a very, very thin cable here for the LEDs. Okay, that's also actually like there's some filament hair in here in the fan. Let me quickly remove that. It's like this filament fluff. I'm sure you can see it. Should also put here in the side fan. Okay. So then next step, motor. Let's put in the side first that is like fixed. Oh, it would help to not have a screw in on the other side. Put this little backpack on as well. Okay, so the motor is still loose, and we can, no, it's not loose. The supposed to be loose. And we can still like move it a little bit. So basically what we do is one side we tighten already quite a bit. And now you can basically just move it a little bit up and down. Actually. At least that side here. Oh wait, this side is quite tight, this side is loose. So, still does not move. Let's remove this here. Um, the walls were just so bad because of their Bondtech gears seem to be the cause of uneven extrusion. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. But it's like 50-50 to have that problem. Oh, so it's just like some like production tolerances or like some production issue? Okay, this should make it easier. Let me just quickly double check. Yeah, so one side we can slide up and down, and the other side is basically just a hole. This is already quite tight. And now we can adjust the motor position. So basically what we were looking for under all those cables is how we can move this white gear here. So if I put the motor all the way down, like there, I can't really move the gear back and forth without moving the motor. Like there's no backlash. If I put the motor all the way up, I can freely move the gear like that much. It's just like the meshing of the gears. So we kind of look for a point adjusting here the motor position where we can kind of move the gear a tiny bit. Something like this. We tighten that. And then we just double check that it's still how we want it. Yeah, that looks good. Like that's really just all this is about. Just that you have like this little tiny bit of play. It seems to be a colleague of mine had the problem as well, but did not know it. He thought it was just quality was okay. He was really bothered by it, but hated the way the part looked. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like sometimes you're happy or not happy in this case, and you don't know what you're missing out on. But generally, I think, like, this is my impression. Like, I never had a Prusa machine, but like from what I hear, like the print quality is good, or supposed to be good. Okay, so let's put a little board back. But also zoom out a bit again. Okay, so we need to be super tight. Cool. And now we can manage our cables. But before we do that, we have to replace that crimp here. Yeah. So we need to replace this crimp to fix what we broke. And then basically we just, oh, I already put a zip tie here, but we're missing those two cables. They also want to be part of the zip tie. Okay, let me quickly grab my crimping gear and then we can crimp some cables. Yay. Okay, I'm right back in 5 seconds. Here we are back with crimping stuff. For the stream I was like, do I need to put the crimping stuff out? Nah, we're not going to crimp anything. So I think if you want a printer and support and just default profiles, your slicer and prusa is fine, but pricey. But if you want to tinker around a bit, get yourself something else. Yeah, that's kind of like the conclusion I also had. I wanted like a second printer, and I was looking at the Prusa Mini actually, because it's like kind of like small and compact, doesn't need a lot of space. But yeah, I had the same like kind of assessment in the end. Like if you want to like work on your printer a bit, it's better to get like something else than a Prusa. On the other hand, like I think if I would use it professionally, like if this would be like a machine I would need to like rely on in a certain sense for like my work, then I think Prusa is a great choice. Still, like even now with like Bamboo Lab and whatever, I never use it in this capacity, so it might be completely wrong and people have like different opinions on that, but that's kind of like my impression. Let's see, I'm trying to rescue this one that we only have to crimp one. Oh no, we have to crimp two. Oof. Ouch. Let's see. So this side is fine. Need to shorten the cables a tiny bit. But here I know... that's bad. Here I now pulled out a strain of cables on the side. Not sure if you can see that on camera. It goes down quite a bit. Aye. If I have to shorten it by that much, it might be quite a tight run. Let's see. To be honest, it might also be worthwhile maybe soldering those cables, because like these are so tiny, like they're not really like supposed to be in this crimp anyway, in this crimping connector. So maybe it's worthwhile soldering them just to like a short bit of like thicker cable that we then like crimp. Maybe that's actually like a nicer solution. By the way, Neo, those LEDs are the ones that are like now troublesome, but these are a mod. That's also like one of the things, right? Like the more mods you add to the printer, like the more complex and complicated stuff gets. So not necessarily smart to like directly like make it more complicated than it needs to be. Okay, well, I think I like my idea. Let's solder that. Let's solder that to like a thicker wire. So I'm just giving like a bit of space where we can do that. I also kind of want it to be like similar length. I guess it's kind of the moment, so if we just snap it off. Hi there, Alex. Is this the stock mini stealth burner? Yes, that is pretty much stock. The only thing I added is the LEDs. It's a 0.2 R1 version with the larger vents here. But yeah, it's pretty much stock, including the dust. But I think like we found the problem, to be honest, because like yeah, now it's again See here, like it doesn't really like click into 100%, and that's like how it always was. But now I've figured that like sometimes, see now it's like all the time. Sometimes it clicks better into place. And then it's more secure, and I think also like puts out more pressure on the filament. But now it's like 100% of the time, like you still have this like thing. Before, like if I put like pressure on the tension screw on the side, when I clicked it in, like it clicked all, like basically it was like this, and now it's like always like you see like there's like a little bit of like this like ridge. The only way I know how to troubleshoot is reprint. Yeah, that's the thing, like right, like we just took it apart in the hopes to like fix the problem. But I think it's like already like quite a good like insight that this might be the problem. But yeah, reprinting a couple of the parts is also like always an option, right? Like if they come out like ever so slightly different, it might already change whatever the problem is. Yeah, see now, like if I remove tension screw and make sure that this is kind of like in a position it can close it, now it's completely flush again. That's a bit odd issue. Yeah, see now it's fine again. Like something is a bit off. Maybe because of the motor now. Fair point, like we added the motor back. But I wouldn't know how that would influence it, to be honest. Because like the motor doesn't directly like touch that like lever action here. And now it's also fine again. Now not. This is weird. Like I'm not 100% sure that this is like the problem that causes the extrusion issues. But what I notice is basically if I have the extrusion issues and I put a bit of pressure like this, just like on the side, it fixes the issue. So it's just like pressure on the filament isn't high enough, I think. But the gears have pressure on each other. Yes, the gears do. But the gears is only from the motor, like the white gear here, right? This one, and the motor gear have pressure. But the gears inside, they don't touch, basically. They would only touch with the filament in place. Like if there would be filament, they touch on the filament, basically. But it's actually like also like a good thing. Like we test without filament in. Yeah, but also now, see, now like if you look at the gear, there's zero like grip. And if I put pressure on, okay, now something is wrong. Like the gear should turn like when I do this. Okay, wait. Most likely there's just like not enough tension. Yeah, here we go. Oh yeah. So now like the gear is spinning as I pull it in. But it also feels more secure. Like the grip is a bit tougher than before, I think. Okay, let's quickly like... Oh. Yeah, it's harder to pull. Yeah, I think it's better. Because before, basically, when I pulled it through like this, I always had like a little bit of slippage. And now there's nothing slipping. But before I also had the tension like spring here, like all at the maximum. And now I don't. Huh. So this little tiny bit of what I now changed. Yeah. Okay, so basically like I'm now on the lower limit of the tension, but it's also like pretty much like as far in as it gets. Yeah, see now this is the issue that we had before, just more extreme. So maybe it just has to do with the tension. It's like very particular with the tension. Yeah, now I have slipping again. But it shouldn't be that like half a turn of that screw makes such a massive difference, I think. And now there's zero grip. Okay, maybe something is still wrong. R3 model, I want you to be my printer, because it seems you've got the skill to make things good. But right now I don't make things good. Like right now it doesn't work. So let's see if I have the skills. Oh, actually we can also remove that. No, it's actually a good idea. We can remove this bottom part. Actually, we can remove this. We don't need that right now. Yeah. Okay, so the tension screw also has like a lot of impact. The latch is not strong enough for the pressure to keep it closed. I mean, maybe that's the problem, that the latch... But it's also like, it shouldn't be that hard to close, to be honest, I think. At least it never was. Yeah, see now it's like in place properly again. Oh, but I also now see, right? So if you look at this, like it's not fully in place. Now it is in place. Like when the screw is like vertical, then it's fully in place. No, I don't want them. Yeah, well, I'm sorry, Maria. The parts that stretch each other when closing it, maybe they just are worn out on that point. You mean this part here? I don't think this is like for anything but like resistance. And I'm actually not sure if it's supposed to scratch each other. I was wondering about that before, like whether this is like supposed to be like this. I think it is, like it just like prevents it from falling open and close. Like it just snaps a bit in place on the end position. So I think that's kind of like how it's supposed to be. The only thing I noticed now is like the top of the latch here like interacts a bit with the screw. So if I loosen that a bit, okay, let's see. Yeah, a little bit of slip. Yeah, okay, now there's a lot of slip. Not sure if you can see that on video actually, but like it really slips just through the gears. Okay, so we definitely didn't fix it by disassembling and reassembling it. So that's a shame. So besides breaking the connector, we have nothing to show so far. I mean, if you put this like all the way in, like this, like now as tight as it gets. Now it doesn't close 100%. You see, like there's like still ridge again. The top part is closing with the screw. Yeah, basically like it's closing with, there's like this latch here. And this clips on the screw that goes here. Like that's kind of like the idea, like this yeah, clips around that, and that's how it's closing. I thought it would be close with the two plastic parts. No, it's like basically a plastic part interacting with this screw here. That's what's keeping it closed. This screw here basically just adjusts the pressure that like this outer part basically presses against the filament, and this screw here basically adjusts how much pressure is put on the filament. And I think that's just like really like the problem at the moment, that for some reason like minimal adjustment on that screw makes a huge difference. Yeah, let's see here, like now it's like completely loose. But it is completely closed, like the screw is vertical. Now I just turn it like once. Now it's like it's engaging, but it's slipping. So let me just turn this screw for like another turn. One more turn. Now it's like, this is like the end. Like now it's completely in. Yeah, now we don't close properly anymore. But it's engaging completely. Like now it's not slipping at all. But like if I need to have full pressure here, let's try the following. Maybe, I'm not quite sure if my thinking is correct, but if we add another spacer there, like this little like M3 washer, then maybe we get a little bit more pressure on the entire thing. Not sure if that helps at all. Plastic part is pushed out with too much pressure. Which plastic part? I have a lot of plastic parts. Shouldn't the plastic part for the tension screw be the problem? I mean, maybe it is, right? That like this like shuttle. I think in the manual this is called the shuttle. That this is like somehow not okay for some reason. Okay, so basically now we have more tension on it, and the screw knob sits a bit more out. Yeah, now it's also like let's put some filament in, if it wants to be in. Uh-huh. No slipping. And we are not fully closed, but it sounds better, like the closing sound sounds better. To be honest, I think what might be the problem is that for whatever reason I need a lot of tension on the screw here. But you see actually here, on this part, there's a little bit of wear on this. You see, like there's a little tiny bit of wear. I think what's happening is that the screw head interferes with the latch and prevents the latch from closing 100%. Because now that we added the extra washer, there's a bit more space here, right? And you see, even now it's like barely clearing it. Make sure you have the latest revision. They rolled out a new revision shortly after releasing 0.2. Yeah, this is the 0.2 R1. You can see the difference on the larger vents, basically. But I think, like, if I'm not mistaken, like the vents were the only change on the tool head. But I'm also... Yeah, I must have reprinted this as well. Because, I'm not sure if you can see it. Like the texture is rough of this part, like it's a rough texture. And this one also has a rough bad texture. And the 0.2 parts I printed were on semi-glossy sheet, so the texture is different. So this is definitely our one part. Because this part was printed on the V0.1. Like this is the textured bed I have for 0.1. Let's try what happens if we add the second washer, just like for the fun. But maybe we are onto something here. That like the screw is just like too short or something. Let's see. I don't think... Oh yeah, I have a second of those white plastic washers. Yep. This doesn't want to be in the right place. Hi there, Charles Creeper. Is there M3 insert in the plastic part for the tensioner screw? Yes, there's a M3 insert in there. Actually, let me quickly show you. There you see the M3 insert. So basically, like, tensioner screw goes through this part and connects with that shuttle latch in the back here. And for some reason, like after adding like another, I mean, we're kind of like on the edge now, like from the length of the screw with the two washers. So maybe that's just too much. Let's do the following. Let's replace one of the plastic washers with a metal washer, which are a bit thinner. Maybe it's really just like the finding the right spacing here. Like the metal washer is much thinner. So basically, instead of the plastic one, we now have metal one, which is like half as thick. So let's see if I can get it together with that. Yeah, now it's in. Well, with the plastic one should be fine. Let's just tension this like all the way to the max. Aha. So now basically the difference is there's now this teeny tiny gap between the thumb screw and the latch. So I think now we can like fully tighten that, and like this really clicks in place. Yeah, it doesn't slip like at all. Perfect. How long did you have this warrant for? I built it on stream actually. There's a whole like playlist on my YouTube channel with building this Voron, and I think I started building it in June, so like half a year, a bit more than half a year. Let's try the plastic washer again. So maybe this washer is really the solution to the problem here. Let's see, so I think it was easiest to screw in when I just close it completely. Yeah, now it's also in with the plastic washer. Yeah, that's way better. Because now the screw is like fully tensioned, like this, like on the max. Yeah, but see now there's like really like a gap in between, and there was no gap whatsoever. You really see like how there's like a little bit of like a mark, indentation mark here on that part. Ah, but now it's not. Aha, see? Now it's like, again, like the problem that doesn't really fully click in. Now it's back in. Okay, so maybe you still have to like put pressure when closing. Yeah, now it clicks back in again. Like, okay, weird. But then basically it's just like a mental note for myself. Like whenever I load filament, I really need to make sure that this like really clicks into place most likely. Yeah, because now something is like blocking again. Yeah, now it's like back in. Okay, so basically I just have to pay attention then a bit more there. Or get an orbiter extruder. But I mean, overall, like, didn't have any problems with that so far. But yeah, see, like now I can really push it through and you see like the gear turning. Yeah, and there's no slipping. And how much was the Voron in euro? I also live in Germany and I'm pretty interested in buying a second printer. My budget is about 1K. Well, for 1K you definitely get something. I mean, this one was, that's the 0.2 LDO kit, which I think runs at 750 euros. I think something around that ballpark, plus minus 20. You need a little bit of tools, like whenever you build a Voron for the first time, you need some tools that you just have to buy. I mean, generally the kit comes with everything you need, but it's just like small things, like you need like an engineering square like that, without the rust. Just like to make sure like stuff is properly aligned. For 1000 you get also most likely like a Trident kit from China. Like if you order from AliExpress, you get like a Trident kit for like 1000, I guess. The 2.4 kits are a bit more expensive because they have more motors. Like the 2.4 just has like more motors than the Trident. But yeah, like for 1,000, you can get a Voron if you want to. It's just like you also have to consider like the time, right? Me like building or like working on this right now is something you just need to consider when you build your own printer. Like also like if you buy a printer, of course, like it's always a bit of tinkering. But if you build your own printer, there's like significantly more tinkering involved than if you build if you get something like off the shelf. Okay, so I would consider the extruder issue fixed. So now we just have to fix up or patch up the cables we broke in the process. Let's actually quickly plug in the things we can already plug in. So it's a part cooling fan, another part cooling fan, and a hot end fan, and of course the extruder motor. Okay, so then those cables are already kind of out of the way. So the problem here now is, like these cables are like super flimsy. And I also saw now that actually the cable here is damaged, which is not nice. There's a bit of like wire poking out. Focus is not the strength of my camera. So to be honest, I think let's just cut them like really short. And just like solder like a thicker cable from the bottom here, and yeah, it's less sensitive. We're on switch wire. It's 8880 on 3J right now. I would not get a switch wire, to be honest. The reason is that I feel like for 880, like it doesn't really deliver a lot. It's just my 2 cents. Because like the bed slinger has a lot of downsides, of course. I guess upsides as well, but like it has downsides. And if you spend 880 euros for a bed slinger, I'd rather spend like 200 more and get like a Core XY Voron Trident. Let's cut this here. Let's cut this on this side as well. I don't know, like for 880, like, yeah, like the things like I have a switch wire, right? Or like a ender to switch wire conversion. And the only reason I did that is because I had the ender. Like if you have an ender lying around and you want to have like a Tinker project, then it's amazing, like to build like a ender switch wire. But like if you really like want to buy something from scratch, I would not get the switch wire. Hi, Republic. So actually, if we would be smart, we would cut one wire a bit shorter. Then so basically, like if you have one wire shorter than the other, you can solder them next to each other, and you don't need to add isolation between the two cables because they can't physically touch. That's a bit neat, or neater. Okay, so then basically, I think I actually have some wire flying around that we can recycle. Okay, I think for black we need fresh. Also a bit. I'm always trying to like recycle my wire pieces a bit. I would love to get good with the Voron and then get a big Trident. I mean, that's actually like on my wish list as well. Like if I would get like another printer now, I mean, I have the V0 and I have the switch wire. What I really miss in my like printer arsenal, so to say, is big printer. I'm kind of eyeing at like later this year, maybe, getting like either 300 or 350 Trident. Not because I will need it like every week or something, just like to have it. I'm not sure why I put all the stuff like in the worst corner to reach. But yeah, that would kind of be like my next dream printer. Like a very big Trident. Yeah, I worked on my own printer a bit. I bought the Mega S, old printer I'm selling. Oh, it's really old, I think. Had so many issues. Extruder cable's broken. I've broken 40 euros. That's still a steal for a printer. Case and Raspberry. Currently have the Cobra 2. I'm not sure what the Cobra 2 is. Is it like also like a bat slinger? Or sounds like a bit like a Ender clone. Transcriber Format 0.2, and I'm quite happy with it. Yeah, the Ballistic Tech has a really long review about the Formbot kit and also built it on stream, and I think he was really happy. Like, if you're willing to like tinker a bit with it, then I think it's a really good kit. Like, the LDO kits are just super expensive. I mean, they're good, don't get me wrong, but they are quite expensive. Okay, so how long does the cable need to be? You kind of take it from here up there. Need a little bit of cable. I think we're kind of like on the optimum, in the optimum range already. Maybe let's use this as a length. Actually, let's, for the red one, let's actually just adjust the cable length, like once everything is soldered together and in place. And we said, like, for one side black we need fresh wire. Okay, let's quickly just add some tin to the ends. Add Slinger any cubic kind of Ender clone. Has that offset level, normal level pressure compensation? Oh yeah, okay. So it's like an upgraded Ender basically. There were like in the last like 5 years, there were like so many printers that were like super similar. It was all like Ender plus like some extra thing on top. So see, I wonder how it's like best to solder that. Because like the cables are kind of attached to the tool head. So we just do it like this. Now it's like a little bit fixed. Yep. Oh, from this side it doesn't look good. Maybe we can also just clamp it in place. This does not want to solder in the way I want it to solder. Let's just add a little bit more. Okay. Yeah, now it looks good. Now I'm happy. So let's just repeat that in the exact same way. Oh, it looks horrible. Okay, it's not my cable solder day. Okay. Yeah, that looks okay. Cool. So now basically like the solder points are like apart so they can't touch. And then we can just throw like a short piece of heat shrink over it, and then this is nice and properly done. Or as properly done as I know how to do it. Yeah, now we can like shrink the heat shrink later, and everything should be kind of nice. Let's just flip that over. And here it is. How long do I stream? Depends a bit how my mood is and how quickly we're done. I don't know, like most likely a bit more, but not going to stream like 5 hours today, most likely. The moment you don't breathe in seeing the smoke. Yeah, that's protective breathing techniques. That's a bit too far away. I should really get like an extractor fan. Because I was never soldering that much, so I didn't bother to get one. But by now, like, I'm soldering like relatively regularly, so I should definitely get one. Here we go. Also a bit spaced apart. Nice. Roughly the same length. Okay, perfect. Enough soldering for today. Then I guess we can already bring the heat shrink. If I would have a lighter, which I actually don't have. Oh, I see it. 1 second, I'm right back. Oh, my macro shortcuts broke again. Amazing. I have two lighter, but both are very, very low. No, this one actually has a lot of gas in the tank. Weird. Oh. Was just set to below minimum. Okay, perfect. So let's not put the cable ties here on the side yet. But just like from a length perspective, I think something like this would work. Now on this side, we need to have... I think the black cable is almost the perfect length already. Let's take off like a tiny bit. Something like this. And then my goal is still to put them together in one crimp, which is always a bit messy. If you have a PC fan lying around, you can build your own. Yeah, actually I thought about that. I think I have everything I need to build like an expector. Like I have PC fans, more than one actually. I also still have to take apart my old gaming PC. I actually considered doing that on stream. It's kind of like a cool machine. Like it's very old by now, but has a lot of like 3D printed gimmicks. And there I have 6 fans at least that come out. I'm still not sure what to do with that machine. Like it's kind of like not worth it selling. Oh, this will be like very difficult putting in one crimp. It's not worth it selling in one piece. Because there's like a water cooling system in there, which if I just sell like the 8-year-old PC with like water cooling system in it, I'm not really getting anything out of that water cooling system, like from selling perspective. So most likely I will like remove some valuable parts. I don't think this will work. So most likely remove some valuable parts and then like sell the PC just as it is. Like the hardware, and then like sell the water cooling components separately. Okay. That is not working as well as I expected. Let's give this another try. So I think the problem is twofold. Like it's a bit too long. Let's just snip off the end. But the other problem is that the two isolation casings are a bit too thick. Everything is a bit too thick to fit in there. Let's just try to crimp it and see what happens. Oh, actually it worked well. Huh. It's actually a very nice crimp. Like it wraps around both wires properly. Like you hear the back crimp is on the isolation, and the front part. This is a nice crimp. This should be proper. Okay. Pre-crimp the tongs and then put in the wires. Yeah, I think that doesn't work really because it's just too much, too much wires. But let's try to replicate that. So first we kind of like try to put it together. Yeah, I think this one is already okay from the length. So usually what I do is like I put it in here, and then I use the pliers to kind of like put pressure on the back. Then it usually stays on its own. But it's a bit difficult here because I have to have the isolation between the hind legs basically of the connector. I think a world without crimping would be a better world. Let's okay, let's try. I think I had it in the same position more or less for the first one. Yes, that also worked. Nice. Cool. The only problem is I did not pay attention on the polarity, but we can figure it out. This one is the cable we pull out, has red wire in it. That's the housing. One connector is in there, which must be the black one because the red one I have in my hands. So let's quickly grab a fresh housing. Fine to me, yeah. Seems fine to me too. Let's hope it also will be fine later on. So we know the one that in there is the black one, so black goes to the right. Let's try to maneuver that in there. Yeah, that's it. And then red goes to the left. Yeah, perfect. Now we can plug it in and try to cable manage. Cool. Now let's add the last missing piece. It should just clip back on. Yeah, here we are. Here we go. And I don't like this clip system here. No, it's on. Okay, then this goes in like this. And now we just need to like organize all those cables in a way that makes sense. Okay, so on this side we only have those two. Just make sure they are flush. That's one thing I noticed a bit, like if you have a lot of stuff standing out on the back, it kind of gets stuck a bit on the back, because like if you do have the printhead like all the way on the maximum Y basically, like it is basically against the extrusion and on the back. So it's really important to have this all flat. Through here. So. Then up here, hot end needs to go here on the side. Okay. We just need to have the thermistor here. And that's kind of it. And we can now add some random heat shrink here and there. Not heat shrink, cable ties here and there. Just to like tightly pack this all. Maybe let's just use one to like tie together those here. Actually, would have been nice to have like a little bit of heat shrink on like here, basically on them. Not to shrink it, just like to hold it together. Here we go. Also one more on this side. Perfect. And now everything should be back in order. So my suggestion now, let's put this back on the printer. And then we can maybe do like a very short test print to see if we still have the issue. But I'm fairly certain that the washers we added here fix the issue. So let's quickly clean up this zip tie massacre. Put like all the pliers on the side. We don't need soldering stuff anymore. I really need like a trash bin directly here, where I can just put on like trash in during the stream. Move it over here. Okay. Let's put this back where it belongs. Solid question. Do we want to install a lightweight X-beam? Let's first make sure everything works, and then let's see what we do. First to the hidden screw on the back. And then 2 screws on front. This connector is so hard to plug in and get out both ways. Okay, but it seems to be in. Perfect. Then I have conveniently a power cable here. Let's turn it on. Did I actually turn it on? Let me check for some lights. Yeah, I see lights. Lights are on. Ah, yeah. Here we go. It is starting up. Perfect. Then let's do the following. Like, we don't have a nozzle on yet. What we can do is we can quickly test what happens if we try to pull filament. Okay, so this is now in here. Wait, let me switch back to the desk. So this is grabbing on here, which is already quite a good sign. So I will just try to like hold it a bit while I extrude filament. Just to see like if it's slipping. And so far it's not slipping. And I'm really pulling. So I think the problem is fixed. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's fixed. Like, I can't hold that, and there's no like noise that it's like slipping through the extruder. So I'm pretty sure we fixed the problem with adding the washers. Okay, let's try the following. Let's just go for like a 1-layer test print, like really minimal and quick, just to see that it works. So just go to prepare, select the switch, the V0.2. Yeah, let's just use a Voron cube. I mean, it doesn't really matter. And we are using Filamentum PLA. And that's really all we need. We quickly need to prepare it. So let's put in a nozzle. That would be like, it's quite handy to have a nozzle actually. And it's also like a very dirty nozzle, so maybe we can quickly clean it as well. See, actually, like in the browser, you see it. See the best what I'm doing. Oh no, it's hidden from the camera view. Okay, nozzle's in. Let's preheat that to 240 actually with. Oh, that's a bad temperature. And let's also observe Yeah, you see like the temperatures going up, so the heater is working and the thermistor is working. And the fan is also working. Just because like, we took everything apart, like I'm just checking that like all the things are still working. Is that the new OSEC plate? No, it's the old OSEC plate. They actually have they sold off the old ones. And I snapped the old one for like half the price or something. Because I was like, I mean, it's a great build plate and it's really durable actually. Like I did some I have the same one for my Switchfire. I did some nasty things with it and it's like holding up very well so far. Wait, I'm not sure if they actually still have it. Oh yeah, here's stock sale. But I think by now it's mostly sold out. But yeah, this is exactly the one I have. Like the OSEC Safe Sheet Generation 1. It's only 40 euros, which I think is a really steep price for a print plate, build plate. But compared to the new one, here, this one is like 88. It's like half the price from the new one. So like, if you want like one, I highly recommend getting this one. Like, it's really good. Yeah, what's else do they have? Oh, the Ender 3, they also still have on stock. Like behind here, the camera, it's like the 220 by 220. 165, I'm actually not sure which printer uses 165 and 165. Yeah, and MK4, MK3. So if you want one, use the sale. The new cheaper ones are the same material as the old ones, if I remember correctly. Like you mean like the OSEC sheets, the non-safe, right? Because this one is the same material as the first generation safe sheet. Yeah, it's the same price basically, right? Like here you have the 120 by 130. It's the size I have. And it's like 37 euros and the safe sheet is like 40. So, I mean, it doesn't really make a difference. The only difference between the safe sheet and the non-safe sheet is a bit of a gimmick feature, right? It's just like this like little red strip here that like gets redder when you like start heating up the bed. That's really all there is in the difference. So all the stuff of the model. This is such like an amazing tool. Like it's just like a brass brush basically. I didn't have it for a really long time, but like it's so nice to like clean your nozzle. Also gives us like the best chance of success. Let's clean that a bit. So let's also preheat the bed. And then I think we can start our little test print. €40 different for just that. Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing, right? Like the OSEC, like the second generation OSEC safe sheet, they have a different surface, like seemingly. And this like is the first generation, which you get for 40 in the sale, and it has the same like surface texture as the non-safe sheet. So I mean, yeah, I don't like the things like 80 euros for like a print bed is absolute no go. Like 40 euros was steep, but it's definitely worth it. Like I really enjoy using it, and it works really great. So from that perspective, I recommend it. 80 euros for a sheet is steep, to say the least. But yeah, like if I would now need, like if I would need one, and I would also go for the non-safe sheet. Like I think it's definitely, if I would have like a new printer now, I would want one, but I would not go for the safe sheet, because it's really just a gimmick. That's all it is. I mean, now you see, right, like it's more red than it was before. Yeah, it's now slowly heating up. But yeah, it's like, I know it's hot. And even if it's hot, like even if it's 80 degrees, right? If you touch it, it's not like your hands are on fire or something. There's actually one thing, like since 3D printing, I feel like I lost all like sense of heat in my fingers because I constantly touched like hot stuff. So I'm quite sure, like I wouldn't buy it for that. Okay, slicer. So technically we are ready to send that, right? Upload and print. Copying of temporary G-code to the output G-code failed. What? Oh, is it the... Nope. What is that? Wait, let's try a different profile. Okay, something really weird is going on with my slicer. Oh, now it's printing? Okay, it's printing. I have no clue what was that. Let's give you like a nice view of that. I like them from my other printers as well. Yeah, it's definitely like worth it. Not for 80, but let's see. So basically what we're looking for is like any like gaps in the extrusion. So far it looks good, and like it showed quite quickly. Like it wasn't like once every 5 minutes, it was like quite regularly, like every 30 seconds. Or something like that. Let's just print until this like a tiny bit of filament is gone. It's a really beautiful machine. Like this is by far the most, or like the best printer I used so far. Let me quickly check. The part cooling fans are not yet on. Which is correct, they're still at 0%. I'm quite sure what the profile is doing. Let me just turn them on. Yeah, okay. Fans are on. Perfect. Both sides. So all electronics on tool had survived our little endeavor. The camera is a mod as well. This camera is my normal camera. You mean the camera in the browser, right? Like the one that's now small on the side? Yeah, that's a mod. But that's basically the only camera position you can have in a printer because there's not enough space anywhere except for that spot. Normally I have 3 to 4 layers at home. Yeah, like I don't know what I have on the profile, but there's still 33%. No clue. But now it works. So, and I didn't see any like skips in the extruder, so I think it's really fixed. Yeah, now the fans go up to 67%. Yeah, that's good. I think we fixed it. Amazing. No, it's like, it's really nice print. Like until I had now the issues with the extruder, it's basically like whatever I want to print and it's like small enough to fit there, I just print. Like I don't even check the first layer usually because I know it's good. Like I never have any issues with anything with the printer. It's really amazing. It's really reliable. It's super fast. Like whenever I have to print something, yeah, it's just my go-to printer. The switch wire is nice, but it's like the quality is not as good as the V0. Wait, let's quickly cancel that before we. Yeah, there's a little bit of filament we can pull on. Yep. Yep. No, it looks good. Like there's nothing. Oh wait, I still have manual focus. No obvious defects on that. Like it's a very small print. And like a bit far off the bed. Need to work on the Z offset. But besides that, like it like looks very even. There's no like gaps in the extrusion. That was really obvious. Like I really don't have an example right now, but like it was really obvious. Like the under extruded like temporarily. So this definitely fixed the issue. So no auto Z leveling needed with the clicky probe or whatnot. Not really. Like the only thing, I mean the bed is so small, it's really easy to level. It's basically you sit down for like 20 minutes once, you adjust the screws, and then you never touch it again. Like it doesn't lose level. It just doesn't. What I need to do sometimes a bit is like adjust the Z offset, but also that is not really something I regularly need to do. That's like, now for example, I need to adjust it, but I don't know, like maybe the nozzle isn't 100% in or something. But yeah, it's not an issue at all. There's nothing really you need to adjust. Once the Z offset is set, it's set. That's really all there is to say. It's like, it's really simple. Like it's just like because it's so small. It's small and it has the 3 screws, so it's really easy to level. And I just recommend you, like when you have it done and it's printing, like really sit down for like most like 20 minutes isn't enough. Like really get it perfectly level. Not necessarily like the Z offset, just like the level of the bed itself. That this is perfectly level. And I guarantee you, you will never have to touch it ever again. I had to level it for, like really level it. I can't remember, I wanted to print something where the surface finish was very difficult to get even. And like every minimal like change in the bed level basically like caused like glitches. So I spent a lot of time leveling mine. And yeah, it's really, since then, perfect. Oh, and also, by the way, like there's no space for auto Z leveling. There's just no space. Like the tool head is too small for clicky. Like there are some clicky mods, I think, but it's like there's not a lot of space. You could do clicky with a servo where like clicky comes in from the side or something. But yeah, it's really like a tiny printer. There's not a lot of space for stuff like that. Pilai and Patchy for me is like 0.35 difference with the first layer, at least on the Mark III as a mini. Oh, that's weird. But you can also like adjust it in the slicer profile. Like if you really need that difference there, you can adjust it in slicer profile. But that would also mean like I would check then if you have the flow rate set correctly. Because it would mean that one of the two has a little bit less flow rate than the other one. And then you would get this difference, right? Like usually like higher up in the print, I think it's like less important. Like still it is important, but it's not like you have like a range, right? 5 to 10% plus minus is kind of okay. But I think for first layer, it might be like quite a difference. So just check your flow rate. And then some slices also allow you to adjust the first layer flow. It's also something you can play around with then. Because it basically, right, like if you reduce the Z, you basically have more filament for like less space, or same amount of filament for less space. But instead of adjusting the Z, you can also adjust the amount of filament. So you have the same space, but more filament to fill it. You can use different sheet profiles on them, so I just switch before printing. Yeah, it's also possible. I actually have like a couple of sheets, like I barely use them, but this is the LDO sheet that originally came with it, which is fine. Like I have nothing against the sheet. It's perfectly fine. Like it's not super durable. You see, oh yeah, see here like all the marks where like the material comes off. This sheet had less printing than the OSEC. The other side is unused. So this is the LDO I sometimes use, is like more rough. And then actually for like crappy stuff, I use, these are Ender 3 sheets I cut to size. I also use those sometimes for like wood PLA and other stuff I really don't want to have on my nice sheets. Cool. Yeah, so to be honest, I think this is like quite a good point to cut it off. Like we have now 2 hours, 20 minutes. Printer is printing. We fix the cables. We fix the extruder. Like it's like we found a problem. We fix it with a nice solution. So I would cut it off now. And then I would say next week we just have a dedicated stream for this like lightweight X-axis extrusion. Because I really want to figure out a little bit if this is actually worth it or not. Like I heard some people say it's like less sturdy than the normal extrusion, which I guess is fair. But I also kind of want to compare like the acceleration settings we can use with the standard setup and with this lightweight extrusion. I think the consensus I heard so far is that like for the V0 this is not really worth it because like the weight difference isn't that huge. But if you have like Trident or 2.4, then like this makes a lot of sense because like the large extrusion is much heavier overall. I calibrated the flow measuring the weight that is printed and that is fine. You can do that, but what you can also do is like, for example, if you use Orca Slicer, that's actually what I do. Orca Slicer has this calibration. Oh, you don't see that. Calibration flow rate here. Nope, don't say it. Orca Slicer has those like little cards. It generates the cards and they have different flow rates. And these are just like printed completely solid. Yeah, it's a bit awkward that doesn't fit. Let me quickly. So if you slice those, these are just like completely solid. And that basically it makes it very easy to spot like over or under extrusion. And I basically do a first pass with the 5% steps, and then there's a second pass with like 1% steps. And it's like usually how I calibrate my filaments, and it works really, really well. Great to catch one of your streams. Thank you for tuning in. 2-minute benchy incoming. I don't think I will invest in 2-minute benchies. But actually, like, I was kind of like low-key thinking, and I won't do it. But I was thinking about having like a second V0. Like this one I use for ABS. Like I also have the Nevermore on the side. Like this is like fully equipped for ABS, and I love it for ABS. It was really cool. Like sometimes I print like smaller mechanical parts, and this is really amazing for that. But then I was like thinking, because like one downside the printer has, and it's like really like the Achilles heel basically, is cooling. So basically if you want to print PLA and you want to print PLA fast, then the printer doesn't have enough cooling capacity because of the small fans. And the 247 mods basically, right, he has this like massive like side fans that like blow air on the print from the side. And that really has a reason, because like even with this setup, right, with stock basically for PLA, I can outprint the PLA. Like there's not enough cooling basically. So I think having a second one without enclosure that is just for PLA would be quite a fun thing to have. You know, just like big fans then, no Nevermore, but like the fans, high flow hot end, and really just like optimized for like fast printing. I think that would be like a fun thing to have. But I think like I first put money aside for my big Trident that I want to have first, and I have the Switchwire V0.2 and a Trident, and like all of them have kind of like specific skills. Like this one is quick and fast. The Switchwire has dual color, which I actually sometimes use, which is really nice, and the Trident would just be like print volume. So they all have like their distinct use cases. So yeah, let's see. Still need some money, because like the Tridents are quite expensive, I think. But still, like I really want to. Cool. Yeah, switch to Orca Slicer. I do not regret switching from Prusa Slicer. There's actually like an import tool on GitHub that imports your profiles and everything. Cool. Okay, then that's it for today. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and I'm very happy that my new stream settings worked well. I didn't see any hiccups. So see you next week. Enjoy your weekend. Until then, happy printing.